All right, everybody, welcome in, welcome in. Come on into the Paint with Josh show. We're gonna have a lot of fun today. So, we're gonna be doing a sort of a limited palette painting today. I like to show you paintings where you don't have to have every single color in order to be able to do a cool scene. So, let's use like 5 colors today. 5. Sometimes it's hard to hold the brush and show you at the same time. So what I'm doing here is I'm taking my white canvas and covering it in Bob Ross liquid white, and that way we have a little wet canvas that's gonna slide across, do everything for us. Bob Ross liquid white, you gotta have it. You gotta have it, it's vital to the technique. You can use linseed oil if you don't have the Bob Ross liquid white, or if you don't have it in your area, you can't find it. You can use linseed oil, but it's gonna be a clear versus the white. The white kind of helps all the colors blend together and all that stuff. And so what we're doing is just kind of taking wherever it's wet and kind of trying to drag it across to the dry side, just so we have a nice thin little bit of paint across the whole canvas. And I'll show you. We'll test it just like this. There's a good way to test it. So back and forth, and if you look down the side of the canvas like this, you're like looking down the edge, you can see the whole thing is pretty wet. Pretty uniformly wet, and then you'll be able to test it with your finger, just like this. So we're gonna do the sides. Gotta get the sides because this canvas is available unframed, right? You can purchase it right now before anybody even has a chance to look at it or I post it anywhere. Now watch. We're gonna touch it up there, touch it over here, touch it over there, and why not? Boop, right in the middle, right? Now look, right down here, there wasn't as much, so that means that we need to spread it down here a little bit more, right down here in the corner. Got to make sure it's nice and covered evenly. And old Paint with Josh missed a little spot down there. So that way you can tell each part of your canvas is evenly covered with the amount of paint that's on the end of your fingertips, right? And all you need to do is, if you're not wearing gloves, you just need to see the ridges of your fingerprint. If you touch it and it's all goopy and it's too thick and too gross, then it's going to be hard for us to paint, right? So, just like that, got our canvas nice and covered in white. A little bit of paint on the brush. Now, we'll go through the colors that we're going to use. Probably going to use our bright red, right? Probably going to use the Phthalo blue, the Alizarin crimson, midnight black, and titanium white. We need to get a little bit more out of the box. Josh is never ready in the morning. Don't ask. I woke up, I had to run and get Red Bulls, and then come back up here and try to get the canvas ready, and get all the cameras set up and all that. I think Bailey's still asleep. Lucky. She gets to be asleep while Dad has to run around and do all this stuff in the morning. Now, let's grab a little bit of white out of the old paint box. If we can find it. I can never find it easily. Aha, found it right there. Very cool. Now, take our white. You can use the Bob Ross paint. You can use Winsor & Newton or Gamblin 1980. Van Gogh has a good thick oil paint. You just want a very thick, dry paint. It's not wet, not runny, not very oily. Now, of course, every brand is going to be a little bit different. You're going to have some brands that are, some of the Bob Ross colors are very wet and very oily. And then some of the Winsor & Newton. I've had Winsor & Newton white that I squoze out of the tube and it's just everywhere. So, all depends on the brand. Now we got our colors on the palette. We have a nice wet canvas. Let's wash that brush off. We already did that. We already washed the brush off, so we're ready to go. All right. Now we're gonna come in here, we're gonna take a little bit of our bright red color. Just a little bright red, all on its own. Little bit on the brush. I didn't even cover the whole brush. Look at that, it's just on half of the bristles of the brush, on the one side. So let's take that one side, turn it towards the canvas, right, so you can see. And who knows, maybe there was like a little bit of red, just a little reddish hue down in here. Just about in the middle. Doesn't really matter where it is, all up to you. And the brightness level is all up to you, right? So if you want it real thick, real deep red, you can see as it works away from the red, from that initial where we put it in, it starts getting lighter and lighter as it goes away. That's that white. That liquid white is so cool. And see what it does? It starts to change the color of the brush. Now we're gonna come up here into our blue. Don't need to wash the brush, right? Josh is a lazy painter. I don't wash the brush a lot. I like to show you that you don't have to wash the brushes a lot. You got a little bit of blue pulling in from the edges. Kind of getting it close to our little bit of red. Don't want to come too close, right? I'm going to leave a little bit of white in between. Just a little touch of white in between there. We're going to come over here, going to cover our sides all the way down in our blue. And that way, if the canvas sells, whoever purchases it can just take it right out of the box, hang it straight up on the wall. Don't need to frame it, don't need to do anything. Now, I'm gonna leave a little space of white right here for a big old puffy white cloud. It's gonna look really cool. Right now at the bottom, why don't we take our bit of blue, little teeny bit of black, not a whole lot, back into the blue, let it mix into the brush. Now from the bottom, I'm gonna swipe up, right, leaving a little thing, a little bit more black on this side, right, just like that. Swipe it over, leave a little gap in between. We don't need to fill up the whole area, right? Really get the bottom of the canvas nice and covered. Bing, bang, boom. We got all this deep darkness everywhere. It's gonna be fantastic. So now what we're gonna do is take this, all this paint, and blend it all together with a nice clean brush. Gotta have a clean brush, right? So tell me where you're watching from, guys. What's your favorite sandwich? Check into the old Paint with Josh show. This can be the last show of the week because tomorrow I gotta travel. We have to go fly, go to a funeral, and then, well, go to the viewing tomorrow, and then the funeral's on Monday. So I won't be painting Sunday or Monday. And then I'll be back on Tuesday, and we'll probably do a late night show on Tuesday. So shake off the old brush into the cup, throw it into the trash can like that, and then into the beater bucket. I'll show you if you've never seen the beater bucket before. Maybe this is your first time watching a Paint with Josh show, right? There's the old beater bucket. It's a nasty old bucket with a golf ball basket on the inside. Really gross golf ball basket down there. Because it's been used for 4 years. I've been using the same golf ball basket for 4 years now. So all I thought was, I need a place to be able to beat the devil out of the brush and not have it fly all over the house. So if I put it in a bucket, it will stay contained. And I gotta have something in the bottom, so I found this golf ball basket in my garage. And that's what we've been using for 4 long years now. Okay, let's take the brush. We're gonna switch to a clean, dry brush and let that other one dry off a little bit. And then we're gonna come into our red area right in here, right? Just a little red and white area, kind of pulling a little bit of the red out of there, maybe pulling a little bit of the white back into the red. All depends, leaving it very light colored compared to the deeper, darker red down here. Now, I'm gonna mix it in, pushing it, blending it, softening it. All right, and as we go, it's gonna start to change. Oh yeah, look at that. As we start to pull the blue in, the blue really wants to grow into the center, right? So, be careful, all based on our 3 Ps of Paint with Josh. And maybe you're wondering, what the heck are the 3 Ps of Paint with Josh? I've never heard of this 3 Ps thing, right? Maybe somebody can tell you in the comments, guys. What's the first P of Paint with Josh? The first P is very important, right? First thing we do in the morning, take our first P, right? No, that's not what we're talking about. That's not what we're talking about, guys. What's the first P? Somebody's got to tell you in the comments. Let's see if anybody knows. Does anybody know the first P? First P, paint. That's right. You guys over on TikTok are excellent. Paint. People know. Cynthia over here on Facebook knows. Rhonda Burkhurst knows over on YouTube. Paint is the first P, right? So the amount of paint that we put on our brush or the amount of paint that we put on the canvas is the first P. And then based off of our second P, which is what we're using here, right? What's that second P, guys? Because then we can decide how far that darkness comes in, how far you can stretch the red, what the whole painting looks like. Anybody know? Let's see. Liv knows, Gracie knows, Addison knows, Jacob, what's up, man? Let's see, Jeffrey knows. Anybody over on Facebook know the second P? Rhonda knows over on YouTube. Joanne knows. It's pressure, guys. That's right. The second P of Paint with Josh is pressure. The amount of pressure, we can decide how far that blue grows across into the red, right? This, that, and the other, just fantastic. See how we left that little light colored area up there? So it's very bright white around that lighter bit of pink and then a darker bit of red. All depends on the pressure that we're using. We can take this bit of paint, move it anywhere around the canvas as far as we want, all based on how much we're pushing on the canvas. Now, of course, the third P is very important. You gotta have that third P. So what's the third P, guys? Tell all the new fans, look at that, with the amount of pressure, we can take that blue and just push it, cut through, right through the red. All depends on what you want yours to look like. So, what's that third P of Paint with Josh, guys? Let me know. Let me know. Practice, Mama T knows, Kathy's Custom Art knows, Cynthia knows, Bo McLean knows over on YouTube. Tammy knows, let's see. Joanne Lewis knows over there. Practice, right? If you don't have enough practice, how can you expect to be good at anything? How can you expect to be good at anything, right? A little bit of pressure, leave that little bit of light down there. Maybe we'll be able to save it for something cool at the end. Now let's wash off our brush and get that gorgeous purpley color off of our brush as everything mixes together with our reds and blues. Now we'll go throw in a very cool little bit of a mountain. Well, first let's put some clouds. So we'll put some clouds back in there, and then we'll just chuck a giant mountain in there too. So, fun little way to make clouds. You can use a fan brush. You can use all kinds of brushes. I mean, we use the fan brush all the time. You can use your bush making brush, our half round like makeup brush, right? You could use a fan brush. You could use your palette knife. You could use whatever you want to use. All depends on the style of cloud you want to go for and what you want it to look like. So, why don't we come in here with our fan brush? This is the easiest way that I've found to do it, which is why we do the fan brush most often, right? So, there are many other ways to make clouds. But fan brush is the easiest for all the beginners to learn how to do, and you kind of get the most random shapes out of a fan brush. So let's take the fan brush like this. We're going to come up and around our bit. Maybe let's go up like, no, let's come down like that. Right around the bit of the white, where the white and the pink sort of meet. Taking our fan brush like this, mushing it on. Not covering up all the pink, not covering up all the blue. Just sort of throwing a bit of white out there, getting it all nasty. Just everywhere you want to have it, right? Anywhere you want. Now we're going to come back in here. You guys are going to start to tell me when it looks like a cloud, right? Comment, okay, now it looks like a cloud, whenever it starts to. If it does, maybe it doesn't. But with very, very, very light pressure, since we took our first P of Paint with Josh, which is paint, now with our second P, very light pressure, we get to decide what the cloud looks like, when it starts to look like a cloud. Anybody yet? Does it start to look like a cloud yet? Who knows, right? We take that, we mix it down. We just don't want everything to be all the same, right? If everything's the same, if it's all the same amount of white or all the same amount of pink or all the same amount of blue, there's no depth in your sky. There's no happiness. There's no anything back in there, right? It's just blah, it's all the same. So make sure it's not the same, and you come out with a very cool little messy bit of cloud back in there. Now watch this. Let's take a little bit of blue, a little bit of crimson, a little bit of black, littlest bit, right? We'll make this really dark purpley color, just on the one corner of the brush, just like that. All right, and we're coming here on the one side, and we'll come up underneath that bit. This whole little bit of nastiness right underneath there, right? You're like, oh no, you messed it up. No, it's okay, don't worry. Just with our amount of pressure, watch this. And take that little bit of purpley color, start to kind of make the bottom of our cloud, blending it in here and there and everywhere, and you can start to change little things, add little bits of darkness, literally start to blend it with the color of the sky itself, and it will start to kind of fade away. Now we got a dark bottom. Everybody's got a little dark bottom down there, right? We're going to come back in here. We're going to grab up our white, all nasty and crazy, just like that. Go straight through that little bit of darkness, but not all of it, right? Come down, maybe save a little bit. Come over there and over here and there and there and over there. Just sort of not connecting every piece of white, but pushing that little bit of darkness back, just like that. Right, and come back in with a clean dry brush, and we'll come over here and just start very lightly mixing it down. It's going to want to blend with those colors, so depending on our pressure, we can decide what we want it to look like and just make a mess out of it. And out of that mess comes the most gorgeous clouds you've ever seen, right? Just right there. Gorgeous little bit of cloud. Fantastic. 2-3 layers of clouds right in there from really not doing anything, right? I got paint on my 2-inch brush. That's all right, we're gonna have to use it now anyway. We're gonna swipe them up, and then we're gonna swipe them to the side. And all it does is soften our bit of cloud down. There's not so much paint up there that we're gonna smush it, right? Because we blended it out, mixed it up, and everything's nice and soft. Even though it looks chunky and thick up there, it's nice and soft and blended. That's the fun bit. Now, does this have paint on it? It's so hard to figure out when your brushes get all like worn in and dirty and they're not a clean like brown bristle anymore. You're like, does that have paint on it? I can't remember. Let's go back and wash these brushes off just in case. Gotta have some clean brushes. Clean utensils, right? Clean tools. Wash these off. Every time I wash the brushes, that's your guys' opportunity to tell me where you're watching from and what's your favorite candy, man. I gotta know your favorite candy today. Whoop, as I throw my brush all the way back here. Oh, goodness. Oh, almost pulled a muscle trying to get to that guy down there. So what's your favorite candy? And bonus points if you know my favorite candy, right? What's Josh's favorite candy? So I want to see 2 answers. Let's see your favorite candy first, and then my favorite candy second. Type it in the comments right now. And the first person I see with the correct answer is going to get a shout out. While we wash this brush off and while the trash guys come to pick up the garbage, it's a good time while we're not explaining anything. It's a good thing. All right, I'm going to come give you guys shout outs in 10 seconds. Tell me what's your favorite candy, and if you can guess my favorite candy, I might just say your screen name out to thousands of people. Let's see. Let's see, guys, let's see. Mine is Starburst and Skittles. That's a very close one. Let's see, Tiani. Anna, thank you for the little snap heart thingies. Chocolate caramel. Watching from Maryland. Ooh, love toffee bars. Those are awesome. Let's see, turtle candy, and Josh's favorite is peanut M&Ms. Rhonda Burkhorst knows me well. Hey, Kathy's got her custom, Kathy's Art got her painting today. Excellent. Yeah, we shipped her out a painting, and actually Melanie, one of the fans, one of my best clients, Melanie, bought a painting for Kathy's Custom Art and sent it out to her, just out of the niceness of her heart. And it was super cool. Super cool little thing. So, oh, God, I'm gonna pull a muscle. Look at my back. I feel like right here on my shirt that you guys love, right? Your girlfriend watches me on TikTok while you're at work. She does. It's true. It's true. There's nothing you can do about it. Man, my back is kind of sore. I don't know if I slept wrong or whatever. Okay, let's come in. We're going to mix up a little bit of black, a little bit of crimson, a little bit of blue. And we're going to come in like that and mix it up into this really dark, nasty color. And then what we're going to do, once it's all mixed, is go up and make the most gigantic mountain you've ever seen. So let's all go check out paintwithjosh.etsy.com. We're going to scrape that up just like that. Come in here, just wherever you want. All nuts crazy. Anywhere you want to have it. All crazy. You want to go up a little higher? Go up a little higher. You can change all the look, make it all nuts, all jagged. Tons of little crazy bits, right? You don't want to have it just look like a little pyramid out there. So I like having lots of little different things happening in our mountain. Very cool. And again, you can change the angle just by going up a little bit higher, dropping a little bit more paint, changing a couple things. Maybe it falls down over there. All depends on what you want yours to look like. Well, we might as well make it just a giant old mountain for you guys today, right? Now we're going to scrape this guy down, just like that. Different areas, different ways, doesn't matter what it looks like, because we're going to take it and blend it out, right? All we're trying to do is remove some excess paint off of the canvas, and that way it doesn't grow too far. Our first P of Paint with Josh, that paint, right? Look at it. Look at all this paint right here, watch. Look at that. That's a lot of paint right there. We can even scrape that up and make a whole nother bit of an extra mountain if you wanted to, right? Totally up to you what you want to do with it. Like our little peak up here is a little too crazy. There we go. All right, you fix it, scrape it up. All this is all wet, and it will stay wet for a long time. So let's get rid of that paint. I don't need that guy anymore. Now, all based on our pressure, our second P of Paint with Josh, based on the pressure, we decide if the mountain's going to go real far off the canvas or if it's just going to stay right there. Right? All depends on what we want it to look like. It's fantastic. Now we're going to come in here very lightly, different ways, over this way, different angles, different things. Start to make your mountain look like different things, right? We're going to come in here, swiping it down. Now let's come onto this side. Maybe we come the other direction. A mountain is a whole jumbled up pile of rocks. It's not just one way, it's not just one direction, it's all these crazy things and all these crazy angles going every which way, right? At the bottom, don't really worry about what's going on. We're gonna have this whole little thing happening, and look, you just start to create this whole thing starts to fall right out of your brush. Just shake it like that, little mountain falls out, right? Let's come up here, very light pressure, because I don't want to drag it all the way to the edge. You want to leave a little bit of misty wonder over here, a little mysteriousness, right? Little Rey Mysterio Jr. over here for you guys way back in 2000 watching wrestling. Little Rey Mysterio Jr. back in there. Now, look at this area right here. We can take it and pull it this way. We can take it and pull it that way. We can go straight down. We can go to the side. We decide what it looks like, right? So let's see if all of our shadowy side is going to be over here. Maybe all that light might be sloping down and ending up, who knows, in this little valley back in here between this little peak. You never know what it's gonna look like until you do it. So try things, right? A little bit of pressure, a little bit of color, a little bit of differences, and all of a sudden we're gonna have a very cool little mountain. So let's wash this brush off. You guys are gonna tell me where you're watching from. What's your favorite sandwich? Come on over here, and we're gonna go beat the devil out of this brush. Hang on. Just gotta get the devil out. Bang, just like that. Clean it on up. Now, let's come in here, make up a few little bits of our shadowy color. So let's take some white paint. Let's get a little teeny touch of blue. See that little teeny bit, don't need a whole lot. Bring it over here. Mix that guy up like this. Get that very sky blue color that we need to darken down just a little. So let's take a little of that purpley mix that we made our mountain out of. And all of a sudden, you get this nice bluish, grayish, snowy color, right? Quote unquote. It's almost like I almost drop my, whatever I'm holding in my hand, I almost drop every time I try to show you guys something. Do our little air quotes. Now, we're gonna come over here, we're gonna grab up some white, a lot more white, about double what we just had, and a little scrape of that blue that we just made, and then we're gonna come over here, right, and make up our quote-unquote white snow, even though we know it's not pure white. And it may look very bright to your eyes on the camera, but in real life, we can tell it's not pure white, right? But against this shadowy color, boy, it's gonna look bright. So, here we go, we're gonna scrape this guy up, just like that. We're gonna go do our shadows first. Let's wipe off our knife. We don't need all that paint on there. Come in here, little teeny tiny scrape, and on the back side of our little mountain, just the back half, very light pressure, following our angles where we had our little ridge back there, right? Just like that, come around the side very lightly, very lightly. Whew. Such a light little thing. You don't wanna mush it on there when we're doing these white canvas paintings, right? Very small little touches of blue on the back half of our little cliff, right? Maybe on the back side of our little shadow over there, you get all these cool little things. As you get to decide what it looks like, all depends. And that's why I like putting our shadows down first, because then we can go across with our highlights and cover all sorts of little bits that we don't like or that we didn't want to see. All depends on what you want it to look like. So we'll come back, we're gonna grab up our quote-unquote white paint that we had mixed up, come back up here, start to touch it, and just very lightly, going over different areas, so small, so light, little touches, little bits as it comes down, long strokes, right? Come down like that, a little bit on the tip top over there, not covering up all of our shadowy bits. Gotta have some of those little blue areas that we left in there, dropping little bits of white over it, just on half of our little cliff. Little things, right? Maybe it starts coming down that way. Mixing in very lightly, very easily, right? Take our little bit of paint on this side, come back up, just jiggling it along the edge, swiping it off down the side, very light pressure. We get to decide what it looks like. All depends on us, right? Come up in here. Gotta make those noises, otherwise it doesn't work. That's half the battle, is making all those noises. There we go, bringing it down. All depends on what you guys want to have your mountains look like. Doesn't matter what mine looks like. As we drag that bit down through there, falls right off the side, right? Sometimes, if you can change the angle of your knife, right, let's make up a little bit more of our color since we never make up enough. Change the angle of your knife, you can start to change the angle of your mountain. Imagine that. All right, so let's grab it over here. Start to go off to the side, and then we're gonna start pulling sideways. So you get those bits to shoot off this way. Now, we're gonna wipe off our knife, go back in, take a little of our dark color, mix it into a little bit more of this shadowy blue paint, so now it's a much deeper, darker color. And come back underneath those little projections and add a bit of darkness, right? You can even go with our pure mountain color as well. Little bits way back up in here. Just like that. All depends on what you want your mountains to look like, right? Very cool. Come in here with our little blue, shadowy, grayish color. Just like that, we got a very neat little mountain. It's kind of hidden in the darkness. Maybe take a little bit of our black or our very dark mix. Throw it back in there just so we have a few little bits of rock that are just so sharp. They just can't get covered. The snow can't cover over the top of them. Very cool. Let's take a little last bit of our highlight paint out here just to have it mesh. Oh yeah, very neat. Okay, now, I'm gonna come in here with the 2-inch brush and very lightly and start to swipe it from the side upwards towards the tip, but we don't want to go so far that we drag it across the blue, right? Just like that. sliding it up. It starts to soften all this paint down here, makes it look a little bit more blurry, right? Now, we're gonna go to this side, same thing. See all these little brush marks we're making down here? Don't worry about that. We're gonna go back and get rid of those. So don't worry what it looks like, right? If they're very thick and very dark, that means you've got either too much paint up here or you're pushing too hard and attaching too much of the paint to the brush, right? Now, can't really go anywhere else besides into the mountain, which you don't have to do as a beginner. So we're gonna take our brush over here. Let's get a little bit of our white paint on it, right? Just a little bit of dab on the end of the brush. Don't need a whole lot, a little bit like that. And come in and start making our little bits of fog out of here. Look at this. Dabbing it in so we have a little bit of white that's going to mix in with whatever color that we use for our fog. You're like, Josh, that doesn't look like fog. I know, guys. Give me a second, jeez. Right, we're going to come in and start tapping it a little bit more. Bringing it up into our snow and then back down. So we drag some of that kind of lighter snow color down and we leave this mysterious bit of a mountain back there. Like, what's going on? We can't see it. Can't see anything back there. And look, as we start to drag into the blue, or this darker kind of grayish, bluish color, it starts to change, so we don't want to go too far. Now, we got to start going this way because we came this way with our knife. All right, so in order to make it look correct, start doing that. The more you come up into that blue and drag it down, the more deep darkness we're going to have down in here. Get rid of all that. I love that sound. Listen to that ASMR. Best ASMR ever, right? Now we're going to come in here, mix it up into little circles. Now all of a sudden we got this floating mountain at the edge of, our scene right out there. Very cool, covered in all this misty fog that we can now place new things in front of, and they will stand out a little bit better and more in the front because of that fog. Now, I'm gonna go back in here and just very, very lightly, like you don't need barely any pressure at all, which is why I say you don't have to do this part as a beginner, because it takes such a little bit of pressure. So you don't move the paint, but you soften it the tiniest bit. And that takes a lot of our third P, which is practice, right? Got to have a lot of practice in order to soften the paint like that without having it move and stretch. So very cool. What do you guys think about that? What do you think about that mountain while we take a little sip? Hey, Red Bull, sponsor me, please. I need wings in the morning, for sure. Definitely need wings in the morning. All right, this one's turning out fantastic, you guys. All right, let's come in here. We'll get a little bit of trees off in the distance, right? Maybe a couple just in the bottom. Still haven't worried about the bottom. Not really worried about anything, really. Because you can always cover over any bit. You can mix up any bit of brush stroke, any little hard little tap or whatever it is, right? Throw the thing. Doesn't matter as long as it's below, right? If it's above, okay, now we got a problem. We got to go back and be very gentle. But if it's below, we're going to just work everything down and down and down. So you don't have to worry about it. That's why we haven't over mixed this part yet, because we're going to be mixing it and mixing it and mixing it. Now we'll come over here. We're going to grab up this little bit of our black paint, a little bit of our crimson, a little bit of our blue. Not a whole lot. Look at that. Just enough of each color to make our dark purpley paint. And we're going to mix it back into that dark mix. I love this dark color, especially when we're only using 5 colors out of this whole palette. I paint every night, so if you guys are new and you're watching right now, I literally do this every single day, multiple times a day. This is how I make my money. This is my job, to come up here and paint and try to sell paintings. So, by the way, you can get this painting at paintwithjosh.etsy.com. It's number 814. 814, and you can get this one. So go search in my store for 814, paintwithjosh.etsy.com. Now we're gonna come up here, mixing up all that paint into this big nasty color. Right, and then we can decide, there we go, scoop it all up and go decide. We'll grab a fan brush and make a bunch of faraway trees. And here's how you paint 10,000 trees in 1 minute. Right, we're gonna come in here like this, paint 10,000 trees in a minute. Get it all nasty onto the brush, and then we're gonna add some far off bit of details just way back here, right? Starting over on this side so you guys can see. See how they look really sharp as they come down, right? Now we're gonna flip the brush over because it starts to split apart. And just like that, you get 10 million trees way off in the distance, right? Don't leave them all chunky like this. I get the comments all the time on Facebook and on TikTok and everywhere else. Oh, the trees look good before he swiped them up. You gotta swipe them up, otherwise they're not going to look the same, right? And this is definitely a trust the process sort of moment. You got to trust the process. Just give me a second before you swipe away. And there we go. We got these far off little trees. Now you can even take some of these trees and reflect them down just by having a little bit of a mirrored action right down underneath, right? These guys are going to go up along the side. And as they get filled in, you start seeing more and more and more little bits of forest, tons of depth, tons of differences, right? Take our 2-inch brush like this. Very softly, we're going to fill in all those little empty spaces. Look at that little bit of pink mist that we left behind there. That's our distance maker, right? Our separation, our separator between the trees and the mountains. That's a whole bunch of distance. Now, let's come in and decide back here where we want our little bit of our horizon to be back there. Just by pulling straight down, right? Pulling over to the side a couple times. Get your little bit of soft reflections into your water, not trying to cover up all of our bright bit down here. Just like that, get this far away little thing. Very cool. You can even take a bit of our dark, that same bit of color back there and just add in a little bit of land. And we had just out here, just a little bit of land, and then we'll go make it a little darker. Don't want to have too much and be too crazy, right? And then at the bottom, I like having a couple little bits of like just dark bushes, something, some bit of something, so you can't really see at the base, right? Again, take it very softly. That way we don't mess up all those little mini details we just put in at the base, right? Very cool, just like that. Now, we come in here, right at the base of all those stuff, mix it, tap it, all this action, get all this little bit of mist. Same thing that we did for our mountain, right? Coming up into here, coming over there, up into the trees, kind of like a heart monitor. Boop, 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 boop. And you never know what's gonna be at the base. It kind of hides it in all that little misty bit of mystery back in here, right? Very cool, guys, very cool. Just like that, get that soft little bit of land back there still. With a teeny tiny bit of white right out on the edge of our knife, we can decide where our bit of soft little bit of land meets the water back there, right? Very softly again, little swipes, little swipe. That way it's so far away, you can barely see that little detail, so far away back there. Gorgeous. Now, we don't want to go too much. This is kind of the area that we want to save right there. So it's almost an unpainted area right where the trees and everything mix. It's going to be great, you guys. This one's turned out fantastic. Okay, let's come over here and we're going to put a little bit of foreground tree in. It's going to be awesome. Going to be awesome. So let's see. We can decide where we want to put different things. All right, we can have a big foreground over here. We can have our trees over here. Got to have a little bit of mid-ground first. So let's put our foreground trees here. We'll put our little mid-ground over here. So we'll come back at the same paint because we're only using 5 colors. I like to show you can do many, many, many things with just a few colors on your brush, right? And make sure everybody watching here on TikTok, make sure you go follow me over on YouTube. It's youtube.com/paintwithjosh and facebook.com/paintwithjosh, instagram.com/paintwithjoshk. Now we're going to come in here just like this. It's a little bit darker paint since we've mixed all this and we squished it and did all that stuff. Let's come in a little taller than those trees back there and a little bit lower. Not too much lower, just a little bit. And we're going to come in like this and just start smacking against the canvas, tapping our little trees up, right? They start to look like little things, little branchies. I'll try to stay out of your guys' way as much as I can, right? Got to make it look good. I mean, this painting's for sale, for goodness sake. I got to make it look good, but I also try to show you guys how to do it. Load up our brush a little bit more so you have that thick paint. Gotta have that thickness on there. Don't want it to be too bright or too dark. There we go. Just like that. Poof, got a little tree. As long as it's sitting higher than the trees in the back and lower than the trees in the back, it'll sit a little bit closer, right? And then we can decide, do you want your land to pull out to the side over here? Do you want to have a little rock? Do you want to have a waterfall? What do you want to have? There's tons of things you can do from this point, right? Lots of stuff we can do. So let's come over here. Let's give this guy a little friend. Just a little guy, a little smaller, in the back. Gonna come back here and just touch, just smack at him. A couple little branchies. And remember, this is just the shadow of the branches. This is just the deep shadowy bits where all of our little critters live, right? All back in there. Gonna finish the side for the buyer in case it gets purchased. Everybody knows these paintings are always for sale. Always for sale at Paint with Josh, right? Now we got this soft little shadowy bit of mix back there. And then we can go highlight it. We can do lots of different things. We can take a little bush, right? You want to see a couple little bushes at the bottom? Get some of that big old nasty paint, squeeze it in like that. Come over here, pop in a bit of darkness down in there, right? All depends on what we highlight, what we show, this, that, and the other, right? These trees could be another 5 feet taller hidden at the bottom of these bushes. It's not just about where it is. It's about what you see in your brain and where you're gonna go, right? Where are we gonna go with all of this stuff as it starts layering down and down and down? We're gonna have to have something somewhere, right? So don't go too crazy, but let's take our little bit like this, and who knows, we could even reflect these guys if we wanted to, really. You could literally reflect them by pulling them down at a little downward angle, though. It's gotta be a little downward, so come up a little higher over here, a little lower over on this side, right? Swipe it over. These soft little bits of our bushes and different things. And then the trees, you could reflect the trees if you wanted to, literally by going like this, just very lightly. Just sort of making like a rudimentary tree shape, not even filling everything in because the paint's gonna grow, right? So we're gonna take it like that, swipe it down, and then swipe it across very lightly, so we still retain those couple little bits of reflection, but you don't have to do it, right? It doesn't have to be perfect. And that's the best part about painting. It never has to be perfect. Your guys is never gonna look exactly the same as mine because we're not gonna load up the exact amount of paint on the brush and all this different stuff, right? Let's come out in here, give a little bit of land for this guy to sit on out there. All right, it's gonna get bigger as it comes towards us, like this. That way you create that angle and the land starts growing towards us versus being thick out there and thin down here. You want it thin, and then it gets wider and wider and wider. Maybe it starts coming down at a different angle over here, right? All depends on what it looks like. How we pull our brush determines the scene entirely. So now that we're about that far, we can put another bit of tree over here, bring a bit of land on this side, and it'll almost be like our river is kind of flowing through. But look at that bit of unpainted canvas. It's unpainted. We didn't touch it with anything. And that's what we're gonna try to leave, that unpainted bit. So very cool. Tell me where you guys are watching from. What's your favorite sandwich? And holy crap, we got 6,700 people watching over on TikTok. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Remember to tap the screen, guys. We might make it to the TikTok viral page over there. That many people watching. If you guys are tapping the screen and commenting, telling me where you're watching from, what's your favorite sandwich, right? We're gonna come over here and make a little bit taller tree. It's gotta be taller than this guy, right? Doesn't necessarily have to be taller than the mountain because our mountain is so big. But if you did take it way up here and come all the way down, man, that brings your tree really close to us, right? So all we have to do is be taller than him and lower than there, and we'll be in good shape. So let's go about that big, just like that. Little bit, very light pressure, all the way down, and then boom. See how we're lower? We're lower than our other horizon back here. That's gonna bring this tree in the front. Make sure our little trunk is there. Poof, and again, we're only using 5 colors out of this whole palette. So let's get a little bit more darkness onto our brush. And that dark color is a mix of our black, our crimson, and our blue. And it makes this very deep, dark, purpley, shadowy mix. So we're really gonna dab it into the brush, getting it all nastily in there, and make these beautiful little happy trees over here, right? Our little tappy trees, we call them, as we tap into them. So tap, tap, tap up into our trees, leaving little bits of nastiness, right? And then we'll come back and we'll make it all look like a gorgeous little bit of tree. But you gotta fill in all that space, fill in all the color behind it. Don't try to leave like a gap, right? If you leave a gap in between, it's gonna look really funny. Even if you have your trunk in there, too big of a gap in between is not good. Don't do that. All right, we're gonna come in, we're gonna mush it, and they're gonna start growing out. The more and more that we come down, the wider and wider they're gonna get. But we're not gonna try to make it like a big pyramid, right? We've gotta sort of keep it within a certain range of the tree. Now you can see every time that we go up and we smash on here, we're taking a little bit of paint off of the brush. So once we don't have those little, I call them little fingery bits, right? They're little textured bits that are sticking off the canvas. Once those are gone and we're starting to smush them away, that means we need to get more paint. So let's come over here and let's get more paint. If your tree is not textured and not thick, then it's not going to have anything for your highlights to attach themselves to, right? Again, we're gonna try to stay out of the way. Don't wanna come out too far, just doing half the tree over on this side, and then you can literally put in the other bit over on this side, right? And I'm trying to do it in a way where you guys can see. It's not normally the way I would do it, which is why a lot of the times I gotta cut in front of you just for a second. Because again, these paintings are for sale. This one is, I think it's $199. It's under $200 for this gorgeous little painting. And again, you can buy it at paintwithjosh.etsy.com. Head over there and check it out. We're gonna fill in the last little bits And you see how we left that unpainted bit, that bit of brightness is really gonna help our foreground stand out. If we can pop a couple little bushes or something over that little bit of bright, woo, it's gonna be really neat. So, I'm gonna come in here. Remember guys, give me a follow. Make sure you go check me out on YouTube and Facebook and Insta and all the other places that we are. Go check out my Etsy store. Got all these paintings for sale. Got tons of paint. This one underneath is for sale. This gorgeous little eclipse painting, that's down there for sale. All right, now let's put a little bit of bush under here and then we'll bring out our thing. Oh, it's gonna be awesome, you guys. Gonna be awesome. Remember, this is just the shadow of the tree, just its base shape. Doesn't have to be perfect because we're gonna go highlight it. All we gotta do is have a couple little bits stick out like that. A couple little random branches at different areas that pop out in different ways, and then we'll go back and highlight. It's gonna be very cool. Very cool. So let's wash off that brush. Gotta wash off the old brush. Gotta beat the devil out of this guy. Hang on. Hang on. He owes me money. I gotta beat the devil out of him here. Hang on. Look at that. It's still so dark because we had so much dark paint in the brush. That we gotta go back for round 2 of cleaning. There we go. There we go. Much better. I mean, it's still stained, but it's not full of thick paint anymore. All right, let's come back to this brush over here, our little bush making brush, right? We've only used about 5 brushes for this whole thing. About 5 colors, about 5 brushes is all we've used. So let's come in and get our black, get our crimson, get our blue. Just all gross. Look how I'm trying to really smoosh it on there, getting the grossest, thickest, nastiest bit of paint. Just say you wouldn't want to drop this on the carpet, let me tell you that, right? All nasty and thick. And depending on our pressure, if I smush it real hard, it might ruin the cool little shape, right? So, again, trying to save a bit of this unpainted area that I told you from the very beginning, we were gonna try to keep that area white. So we're gonna come in here, popping in a little bit. Oh, look at that. Just contrast between that dark and bright right there. Bam. Gorgeous. Have our water run through here. It's gonna be really neat, you guys. Really cool. Right now, all we have to do is fill in a bit underneath our tree, and then we're gonna go back and highlight all these things. It's gonna be so pretty. It's gonna be so pretty, right? A little bit of darkness underneath, because all this is just land, right? This is land underneath there now, so we don't wanna see what's happening. Take our brush, very light pressure. We can decide how far that land grows, and then we can light it up with some snow. We can do all sorts of things. We can have this little bit of land meet itself. The water doesn't have to roll through here, right? Check this out. Actually, this is gonna be really cool. Check this out. No, you know what? Let's put a little, let's wait. We're gonna wait to finish this bottom section right here, but it's gonna have another big bush right there at the bottom. It'll be very cool. Very cool. All right, now let's come back in here. We're gonna grab a little fan brush. Just a little guy, brand new fan brush like this. Now I like using these GAC Doctor fan brushes, and you're like, what do you mean GAC Doctor? And I'm like, it says GAC Doctor, like literally. That's what it says. GACDR, GAC Doctor. How do you say it? Unless it stands for something. I mean, there's nothing else on the brush. So let's come into our white paint, get a little sneak of that blue from over here. A little bit, just to, there we go, just to dull it down, smallest little bit. Don't want it to be pure white. And we're gonna mix it in with our liquid white paint. Now the liquid white is the base coat that we put on the canvas initially to have all these colors slide back and forth, right? And so it's a very wet, very sloppy paint, very runny paint. It'll even drip off of the brush, right? Versus our big thick titanium white, which is like cake icing, right? And this is very runny. So we're gonna come back over here. All of our light is coming from the right-hand side. So we're just gonna do the right-hand side of these trees. Just gonna start making little taps and little teeny tiny details and leaving a lot of dark area back there, right? A couple little taps. Tap, 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 tap. A little bit of branches. Doesn't have to be bright everywhere, right? And then we're gonna come on to the left side of the tree. And by now our brush has become a little bit more dull. And so we're adding a little bit darker color towards the back of the tree, but we're not gonna cover the whole thing. Gotta leave it. Gotta leave it exposed, right? A little bit of brightness. Not trying to cover every single thing, and all of a sudden your tree is going to start to light up, right? A couple little bits back in here and over there and over there, and you just want to leave a few areas of brightness in between the trees, and that way we can really focus on this foreground tree. Now we're going to come in, grab a little bit of liquid white on the end of our old brush over here. We're going to grab this up, come back into our paint, right over here into our white. Kind of dabbing it up into that titanium white and the liquid white mix, right? And that way, it's gonna come off of our brush a lot easier. Look at these, oh, look at those little bushes out there. So gorgeous, just based off of the little tapping, leaving darkness, leaving light in between each one, right? You don't have to have everything be the same amount. Very cool. Now let's add some snow at the base of this guy. Just like that. Take a little of our very thick paint off the top, keep it away from our wet paint over here. And just with our knife and a little bit of pressure, you start sliding our snow down. Just like that. Very cool, right? Take this guy, get him out there on the edge. Out there on the edge of that the darkness out here, right there. Oh yeah, right out on the edge, right? Leave a bit of darkness underneath, and check this out. You can take your knife and scrape through all that dark into the white, revealing the white canvas underneath, and have all these little sticks and twigs holding up our bushes back there. It's really cool, really cool, just really cool. All right, now let's come in. We're gonna go over here and let's come highlight this big old tree on this side. Right now, this guy's a little bit closer, so we're gonna have to do multiple colors of highlights. So we're gonna get our little titanium, or our liquid white. I'm gonna pop it over here. Gonna grab some of that blue. Gonna pop that over here. Mixing it up. Now going back to our white again, that liquid white, so it's very runny and very wet. And it's got that little tinge of blue, and our blue is our shadowy side, right? So we're gonna come onto this side. We're gonna tap in. And little bits, remember, we're just doing like 1/4 of the tree, because the other half, or the other quarter, is going to be our highlight paint. And then the other half has to be the dark. You have to leave the dark in this big one in the front. It's got to be very dark. It's got a lot of detail, and the detail lies in the darkness. So little things, little taps, little bits, right? Then we're going to go onto this side. We're going to put a little bit of white and sort of bring them together right there. Now let's wash off this old brush. Beat the devil out of it. Come back in here. Go back to our white section, get a little bit more of that white. Right back here into that white paint. Just like that. Gotta have the right ratio of liquid white to titanium white to get it to work. Tap the top of the tree, and then come over here. Little taps, little bits, just the corner of the brush. And as it comes up, it makes this cool little shape. It's a neat little shape if you're just using the corner. Right? Just like that. We're gonna come down. Tap, tap, tap. Don't want to be too bright everywhere. Right? Little bits. They start to build our tree, but look at all the little dark areas that we're leaving in this big one up front, right? The ones off in the back, they don't need to be so detailed. You can have less going on back there, right? This one up in the front, we need more of that darkness to retain those deep, dark details. So as we come down, we start tapping and tapping and tapping, little things, and then we got to go back and we got to load our brush again. So we come back through that liquid white and the titanium white, back in here, come back in, holding our brush at the same little angles that we were holding it at before, tapping little bits in. You get your little tree. Very cool. Very cool. And these guys aren't as bright white as I want them to be. There we are, just like that. Awesome, leaving all of that darkness. That's our depth. That's what you want to have in your foreground, right? You want your brightest highlights and your deepest, darkest shadows in your foreground. That's where you want them to be. All right, you guys, let's go highlight these little bits, and then we're going to be looking really good. We're going to be looking really good. And we still got 4,400 people watching over on TikTok. That's awesome. So what are we up to on taps? 374,000 taps. You guys are amazing. Okay, we're going to come in here just like that. My like to beat is 1.1 million taps, so you guys got a ways to go. But I'm going to come in here with a very thick bit of titanium white, and right out here above the shadows, we're going to start. And then we start dropping it down, dropping it down, dropping it down. It starts mixing in and getting more and more and more paint. But it's also gonna go dark very quickly. So come in a little bit more liquid white, have it pop off and stay out there very easily. Look at that. Little things, right? These little bits that come up and above the bushes are my total favorite. Totally my favorite ones. Now we're gonna come over here. Remember guys, go to paintwithjosh.etsy.com. You can buy this painting. You can buy this painting down underneath. I've got lots of paintings available in the store. And they're gonna be excellent little things for to hang up on your wall. Really, really are. Scrape off this last little bit, clean this last little bit of brush. And then we're gonna come back in. I think that's clean enough. Clean enough. We're gonna come back in, get a little more of our liquid white, a little more of our titanium white. Whoop! Come over here, tap it in like that so it comes off the brush easily. Come over here, leaving a little bit of space in between the bush and the tree. Don't want to have it all crazy. Couple little bits, a little bit of brightness here, a little bit of darkness there, and you start to get these very cool little things, you guys. Very cool little things. Very neat. All right, now, you can even take, we don't want to use the liquid white that's in the brush to make our snow. It'll be too wet and gross. So let's clean this off. You gotta use that thick titanium white, guys. Gotta use the titanium white in order to make our snow in the front. And you can make it very thick and textured, or you can make it very smooth and brushed out. All depends on what you want to do. So, oh, you know what? We were gonna finish that bit too. Yeah, we had more ideas. We had more ideas. Once we finished that bit of snow back here, which is exactly what I wanted it to look like. Our little bit of brightness back in there, right? And then that's gonna lead down to our bit of bush down here. Now let's come back in, grab a little of that liquid white. We're gonna come back underneath and scrape underneath this guy. A little bit of water. Don't wanna have it be too wet because we're gonna try to throw a big bush right over the top of this guy, right? There we go. Scrape it off to the side. Couple little bits of water as it comes down and around. And this part we don't really want wet at all because we're gonna come back here with that big old bush. So a lot of black, a lot of crimson, a lot of blue, really getting it all nasty, very thick. And let's see, we're gonna come over here, pop this guy in like that, right? Come down. Oh yes, that's it right there. That is the bush of all bushes. There we go, covering up that last little bit. So we still have our land, we've got our bush, we've got our bit of water. We're in like the back of a little cove over here. Gonna make it dark down around the bottom is all we're doing. And then we're gonna slide it out so these bits of land sort of come together. There we go. Very cool, guys. All right, now, we got one more little bit of highlight to come back and do on this little bush. So let's get our liquid white and our titanium white together again. And come up here, little bits. Don't wanna make it too bright, right? Little touches here and there. Just with like the corner of the brush. Don't even want to use the whole brush. Just little bits on the corner. You get these very cool little things, guys. Little winter scene. Woo! So pretty. So pretty. All right, let's wash this off. It all depends on what you want yours to look like, right? If you had your river running through there and you didn't put the bushes, totally cool. Totally cool. Yours probably looks better than mine. It probably does. Remember, guys, you're gonna be able to come up with a name for this painting as well. So, choose the name wisely. And then whoever chooses the best name will get the shout out, and that'll be fantastic. To shout you out to all these thousands of people, right? Like, everybody go follow blah, blah, blah. I'm gonna make my backup account be blah, blah, blah. That'd be funny. That would be funny. All right, guys, so we're gonna come in here and we're gonna wash off this last little brush and then we're gonna put some snow down and be done with this painting. So start coming up with a name. What would you wanna name it? And I might just choose your name from the comments section below. Remember, we can come in here with these guys, back into our dark areas. Scraping little sticks and twigs that are holding everything up. And our little branchies back in there, just from the dark spots. Sometimes you can flick right out into the opening. A couple little bits. And all we're doing is just removing the paint from the canvas. See that bit of paint that we scraped up right there? Just scraping it off, revealing the regular canvas, that white canvas underneath. Now, let's start coming up with a name, guys. We're gonna name this old painting. As always, we're gonna add in the birds because we gotta add the little bird family, right? So let's get a liner brush out. A little bit of our odorless mineral spirits into our dark, kind of blackish purpley mix of paint. All right, just a little teeny tiny bit, a little small little liner brush. Then we're gonna come up here, add the old bird family flying through the sky. Just like that. I'm gonna get some more paint on the brush. Even with the bird family, it's all about the right amount of paint. Here we go, flying through. Love those little guys. So, just like that, guys, we're finished with this painting, and it turned out amazing. I love it. We're gonna come in here with our bit of snow at the bottom, right? And we're gonna decide just with a very light pressure, just like we did with our bit of mountain up top. Very light little pressure. Maybe we came down this way too. It's not all about just going the same way all the time. Very little bit of textured snow down here at the base, much more textured than anywhere else, brings it into the foreground. Very cool. Very cool. Thank you guys for all the likes and the loves and all the reactions and the comments. I love you guys so much. Every time we do this all the time. So come check us out. Literally always live, always doing something crazy, and always having fun. Now let's come up with a name for this painting, you guys. Let's wipe off the old palette, get it all cleaned up. And maybe later on today, I might come back onto TikTok and do some more live painting over there. Maybe try to sell a couple pieces. Right? I always try to go live and sell painting. That's how I make my money, guys. So help support local artists, help support artists. Go to my store, paintwithjosh.etsy.com, and it's gonna be a fun old time. Now, let's name this painting. What do we got for names, you guys? What do we got for names? Anybody got names? Everybody on YouTube, make sure you give me a thumbs up over there. Let's see, Mystical Mountain, Twilight Zone, Frosted Whispers, Blue Crystal Mountain. I like that. Mountain Glory, Blue Glory, Skylight. Let's see, Beyond the Horizon. I dig that one too. Ooh, Beyond the Horizon, that's very cool. Arctic Peaks, Winter Fresh, Winter Vacation, that's cool. Echo Valley, I like that one too. Blue Glory, Soul Triage, Snow Globe, Mount Pleasant. All great, all great. Hey, Chris Doucette, what's happening, buddy? Let's see, Out of the Blue, I like that one too. Meditation Cove, After the Storm, Whining Winter, Blue Mist, Cascade Summer, I like that. Winter Outlook, Frosted Glory, Winter Wonderland. Let's see, Christmas Eve on the Lake, I like that too, even though it's like, you know, it is a very cold, chilly painting. Mountain Dew, A Hidden Home, Winter Peace, White Winter, I like that. Magic Mountain, I dig that one too. Mountain Blue, Northwest Winter, Sneak Peek, but like peak, like mountain peak. Let's see, Heaven's Gate, Magical Heaven, Artistic Winter. Trees for Neighbors, ooh, Silent Whisper. I like that. There you go, Dream Chaser, if I can get back up to you. There you go, Dream Chaser has 61 followers on TikTok. Now you got 62 because Paint with Josh is following you. And we're gonna name it Silent Whisper. That's a very cool title. So let's flip this guy around. Silent Whisper. Very neat. Everybody make sure we go follow. And we're gonna title it before I forget it. Silent Whisper. Now make sure you tell all your friends that you got to name this Paint with Josh painting Silent Whisper. And we did it on what, 6/10? It is the 10th, yep. 10th, 23. And let's all go to paintwithjosh.com. Check out my live schedule. See what's going on over there. Let's sign this guy. And this is number 814, guys. Very cool. So, finish the top very quickly. Boop. Flip it around. Got to get a little of our liquid white, a little of our blue, since the top is all blue. And we're gonna match up the sky just like that. Finishing the top of the canvas as well. I've always seen them like you start going down the stairs and then you see the top of the canvas is not finished. You're like, ooh, that doesn't look good. There we go. Just like so. Finished around the edges with the colors. Gorgeous little limited palette painting. I want to thank all you guys for tuning in and hanging out with me while we did this today. It was really a lot of fun. And it just came off the brush so simply and easily. And that's when they're a lot of fun, right? When it comes out simple. So let's wash this brush off right here. Just like that. Remember, guys, we might be coming back later on TikTok. So if you follow me over there on TikTok and turn on my little notifications by tapping in the little icon up here and turning on my notifications, that way you'll be notified when we go live. And it's always a lot of fun. Always a lot of fun. So, always a lot of fun. Still got 2,200 people watching. That's insane. All right, guys. Well, let's say goodbye to the YouTube crew and the Facebook crew. And then, we'll do the little wrap-up show here on TikTok, and then we'll be done. So, love you guys over on YouTube. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. Everybody on Facebook, you guys are fantastic. And I love all the comments and the tappy emoji things. I love watching them as they fly up the screen. So neat, so fun. Thank you guys for being here. Remember, you can come back. You can rewatch this over and over and over again, or go watch it on my YouTube channel. And that's youtube.com/paintwithjosh. This one will be up there in the live section. So go to the live videos section. Be right there at the top. Can't wait to see you guys later. And boom, see you later, YouTube. Ba-boom, ba-boom, Facebook, get out of here. All right, and then we'll hang out on